Is this you? Difficulty finding lines, crashing into walls, randomly getting a slide out, or just not knowing how to get your car into the right direction? Well, I hope this will be the last ice tutorial you will ever need. Otherwise, I'm sorry. First thing, there is a small bug. This only applies to you when you're a controller. If you completely steer left but are completely up, you don't steer 100%, getting a 99% steer. This will mean you will get a very slow ice slide, and it just loses a lot of time over the entirety of a run. So you really want to make sure you steer 100%. It is an easy fix. You just bump up the analog sensitivity just a tad, and it will make sure you get 100% more consistent. Now, getting in the ice slide is very, very important because that's the way you get speed on ice, and instead of driving straight, you just turn your car sideways and steering. Everyone knows that. What people don't know is that depending on if you're in uphill or downhill, that angle changes quite a bit actually. So in the uphill you can do it a little bit earlier, and in downhill you need to be a little bit later often. But normally you can start steering at around 45 degrees, as you can see here. That will get you into a minimum ice slide, minimum angle ice slide, which is the fastest. Now, brake tapping. Brake tapping basically allows for the best turning on ice. It's just tapping the brakes very, very slowly and not very, very fast actually. Just a very short tap on the brake and it will allow you to rotate your car. You can really easily practice this if you build a circle in the editor and just drive around it and tap tap brake. It gives you a good feeling on how much the car rotates and how hard you need to brake tap for an ice slide or for a corner. If you don't have the control, I really recommend you trying this because it can help you a lot. Now, one of the things that people don't understand, because they always try to be at 90 degrees, if you get in around 45-degree ice slides, you stop hearing the car's gear very loud and it just gains a lot of speed. Because if you have that angle, you accelerate on the maximum speed you can on ice. So if possible, you want to try to get this angle, though I would say the line is more important. Make sure you're going the right way, and if you can get a minimum angle ice slide in, or what you can say is speed slide, it's faster. Now, release tapping. It's very, very important because you need to get out of an ice slide, and if you just completely stop holding gas, you lose so much speed. And instead, if you just release for the same time you do a brake tap, you open up your car and get a wider exit. As you can see here, one car releases, one car doesn't. At this point, one car releases, same angle, but then you see that one drifts further outside because they release early in a corner. So if you notice you are exiting too far on the insides, if you release a small amount early in the corner, you end that corner wider, having a better setup for the next one. It's really important, and you just have to play around with it, with how much you have to release, but it's not a lot. Now we go into oversliding. Something people are deadly afraid of, but you shouldn't. If you have enough speed, and if a map is mapped well, you can press the brake a little bit longer than a normal brake tap, and you get a very, very tight ice slide, so basically an overslide. This will allow you to make corners tighter and gain a lot of time. Like as you can see here, in the beginning of the corner I have more angle in the insides, and because I have more angle in the beginning of the corner, later in the corner I don't need that angle anymore. So the car straightens out a lot faster. I don't need that extra brake tap that the other one needs. So if you need, and if you can, oversliding is so important. Gorilla Grip. Gorilla Grip is very, very useful in specific scenarios. If you leave an edge, a jump, and you can start an ice slide or at least start steering for the ice slide right before leaving the edge, you instantly gain grip when landing. So if you're already in an ice slide, it does it automatically. But if you land in an ice slide but didn't have the time to start before, it can gain you a lot of time. Because you basically can start the ice slide on the edge and instantly get grip. As you can see here, you steer right before leaving the edge here and you instantly gain grip and start speeding ahead. If you don't do that, you lose a lot of speed. Well, ground spins are very, very niche. They are not on a lot of map, but it's good to know how to do one. You basically, around it when the car is 90 degrees, you press a brake tab. You release, then steer the other way. And as soon as the car is around 90 degrees again, you start pressing accelerate a little bit earlier than 90 degrees, and you get out of the ice slide. This is basically how you do it, and here you have a few examples of me performing one on actual maps. Now we get into spins in the air. Basically, when you leave an edge, you brake tap, and that allows you to get into a spin. Or you carry the rotation. It's a little bit difficult. Just need to make sure you try to use Gorilla Grip, because if you steer right before leaving the edge, on spins, you can use Gorilla Grip to instantly gain grip here. It gains a lot of time, so make sure you steer the other side right before leaving the edge, and that often makes spins feel a lot smoother than if you don't try to do that. Well, dirt snaps, plastic snaps, water snaps, they are all very similar. You basically want to be 90 degrees on dirt, plastic or grass, and it will snap your car, well, to the right direction where you're going. It's was used a lot, it has been used less, but if you see a piece of dirt right after an ice slide, you need to be going in there with a 90-degree angle. Water, it doesn't matter. You can enter it with any angle, but it will push you out to straighten your car. So keep that in mind. Sliding out. Sliding out is something we do not enjoy, but let's talk about it for a bit. You have two ways you can slide out. You can either have too much speed or too little speed. If you have too much speed, it's usually when you are in a downhill. You're in a downhill and you try to angle the car over 90 degrees, you just randomly slide out. Yeah, that happens. You also have too little speed. That basically happens if you slow your car down too much in the slide and it just loses the gear. That can happen by adjusting too much or a badly mapped thing, but usually you can press the brake a lot without sliding out. You should not be afraid, and especially if you are higher in a gear and you're not in a downhill, you can press the brake a lot without sliding out and you don't have to be worried about it. Just wanted to tell you that again because people are scared of getting over 90 degrees and I really want to solve that with this thing here. Well, a short part, sliding out in a downhill, you can actually kind of avoid it, but it's very niche and very tactic that you only will see at high levels. If you are in the wrong gear and you know you're going too fast, you can release steering very, very shortly, and that can allow you to stay in the gear you are without sliding out. Now, let's talk about lines. It's pretty difficult for people to find lines on ice. While it's actually pretty logical. You just always need to think, where does my car need to be on the next corner? You need to think always one corner ahead. It basically helps you to, on the exit, position your car so it's perfect for the next corner. And that's what you always need to do. Because if you try to adjust late, if you try to adjust after the corner and then try to set up for it, you lose a lot of time, and yeah, it's just very, very bad. So here I do a little bit of an oversight at the start. So I end up in the inside so I can enter the other inside here without having to release. Then here I use the uphill to rotate my car so it's perfectly on the inside on the next corner. And that's basically how you look at lines. I will show it off on my map in a little bit, going over the entire map just once, so you have a little bit more info on how you find lines and how I look for them. But this is a general just overview. So, the first line is basically an overslide. We have seen this. I tried to go very, very inside on the start and then just go as close to the edge as possible and let the car rotate out to instantly get grip. Then I instantly start setting up for the next corner. You want to start steering right before the edge, so you carry just a little bit of momentum to the inside here. Then here you want to jump sideways, so you land smoothly in a downhill. If you just jump straight, you will over jump it, so thing to look out over. I enter this water with 90 degrees because it doesn't matter the angle, but I just need to set up for this corner. So this corner has the right angle, which I do. Do a small minimum angle slide up the hill, which gains me some speed. Instantly set up for another inside. Don't angle the car too much because the uphill will push my car to the inside. This will mean less angles like always. I know there is water coming up, so I let the water rotate me and set up for the next side. Again, I'm going in an uphill, so I need less angles to start kind of seeing earlier than you think. This rotates me to normal. Set up for the for this slide, and then rotate the car very, very fast to instantly get the inside here and get into the finish. Well, let's talk about some bad habits while we look at this insane trial map of the campaign. Um, only steer with brake tapping and releasing. Don't try to steer your car with normal steering. If you try to adjust with steering in a normal ice slide, you slow down so much. So only try on ice to steer with brake tapping, releasing, and other stuff. And yeah, just try to feel the car. That's all I can have. It's very important that you don't panic and try to do everything smooth. And apart from that, I wish everyone's best of luck. I have some sneak peeks coming for a very, very interesting trial map. I recommend people that are trying out ice to check out the Glacial campaign. It's very good and very creative maps. And all I can say after this is thanks for watching.